if you have a business, trust me, you do not want to miss this guest of mine. That's my first guest. Now, she is in the person of... Now, I should think about that. Let's watch this video.
A hire purchase agreement is a credit agreement. It is an arrangement for buying expensive consumer goods, where the buyer makes an initial down payment and pays the balance plus interest in installments. You do not own the item until you have made the final payment. Payments could be made on agreed terms, be it monthly or weekly. When a sum equal to the original full price plus interest has been paid in equal installments, the buyer may then exercise an option to buy the goods at a predetermined price or return the goods to the owner. And if the buyer defaults in paying the installments, the owner may repossess the goods. Hire purchase is frequently advantageous to consumers because it spreads the cost of expensive items over an extended time period. These contracts are most commonly used for items such as cars, home appliances, and high-value electrical goods where the purchasers are unable to pay for the goods directly. To be valid, hire purchase agreements must be in writing and signed by both parties. They must clearly lay out the cash price for the goods, the hire purchase price, the deposit, the monthly installments, a reasonably comprehensive statement of the party's right and the right of the hirer to terminate the contract when he feels like doing so with a valid reason, a clear description of the goods. Ultimate Credit Solutions Limited is a hire purchase limited liability company located in Accra. The CEO and founder is Dzifa Ama Anyasor, with a staff strength of 20, with 2 branches in Greater Accra and Volta regions. She has managed to sustain her business for the past 14 years. Dzifa is a product of Polytechnic, Central University, and the China Europe International Business School. She also has executive training from the IESE Business School, University of Navarra, Spain, and the Harvard Business School in the United States.
Now that was incredible. Let's welcome Madam Dzifa Anyasor. Welcome, ma'am. You look amazing. I like your African print. You know, it's Friday night, so you're repping us.
Thank you so much.
Now, you're thinking about Ultimate Credit Solutions, okay, and the fact that you deal in hire purchase. That is a very unique line of business. Yep. Now, what was your motivation to start this?
Okay, so anytime you deliver an item to a customer who generally doesn't have the money to buy it upfront, it brings so much joy. Can you imagine there's this market woman who wants to sell just pure water to take care of the children? She's not able to raise the full amount of money, and we come in, deliver the freezer to her. She uses it and pays you. It's so fulfilling. Aww. That keeps motivating me to keep going on and on and on.
Oh, so the whole idea of you being able to help someone get something that probably is even going to contribute to their line of work so that they can make ends meet, that is the motivation.
That's my biggest motivation.
That is inspirational. So tell us, when did it start and how long has it been?
Ultimate Credit started somewhere in 2006. Wow. So this year will be 15 years.
Wow. Wow, that's a long time in business.
Yes.
So how do you do it? I mean, in your journey, what are some of the hurdles that you've had?
In fact, hire purchase, like any other business, has its own challenges. Okay. But hire purchase is defined or classified under high-risk businesses. Okay. So today I'll take you to 3 main challenges that confront us, those in hire purchase. Okay. The first one has to do with high defaults. Okay. Now, until I started Ultimate Credit, I didn't know people could relocate so easily. So because people can just buy today, you deliver, in the next moment they are gone. Wow. Oh yes, so the addressing system in Ghana is very poor. So that gives the customers the opportunity to just default. That is not even the major issue. The second one I want to talk about is the global hike in prices. You know, in hire purchase, as the introduction says, when you come to an agreement with a customer, you cannot change the price. Yeah. Now, when the person finishes paying, you want to restock, even the capital and the profit you make cannot restock. And this one you have no control over it. But let me tell you the most difficult challenge we face, that is staff embezzlement.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that's the biggest problem we face in hire purchase. When we started, there were no defined systems in the company, so workers were able to really default, embezzle so much money from us. In 2014, a staff was able to embezzle over 80,000 Ghana cedis. Wow. And you know what he did? He committed suicide. That's the painful aspect of it. If you've taken the money, invest into something else, he killed himself. You'll be surprised to know that 15 years down our business, we've been able to build so many systems just this year. A staff that worked with us for over 10 years was caught outsmarting the system before you could say, Jack, 56,000 is gone. So that is a major problem. Staff, and it's not only to high purchase, but if you listen to most entrepreneurs, they are so scared to even establish their business because the average Ghanaian worker, when he gets the opportunity, he will steal from the employer. Wow.
How do you keep your business going for 15 years if you've been having serious issues like this?
One, as I said, the motivation. Okay. So as you see people smile, it motivates you to go on. So over the years, every single time you have to be ahead of competition. You have to keep building systems, keep finding out what the customer wants. And you know, as the days go by, people's disposable income is reducing. So obviously, gathering money in bulk to buy items is always going to be a challenge. So that means that high purchases have come to stay. So you need to build systems. You can't just sleep when you're doing high purchase business. Because when you sleep, a customer will defraud. If you sleep, the staff will embezzle. So you have to be on your toes. You have to build in systems. I always say that in high purchase, you have to have about 6 eyes. Watch all over the place. That is the only way you can keep the business going.
Wow. Now, I'm sure most of my viewers are like, huh. I mean, we just started talking and already they're hearing huge sums of money being stolen and all of that. So some of them may be thinking, then why should I keep doing this? Or even if I want to do this, how do I even start? Give us an idea of how you run your business. Let's say somebody wants to purchase something. They want to come to Ultimate Credit Solutions and have you help them get the item so they pay in bits. Because if I'm understanding the whole process, high purchase is when you are paying in bits for an item and then at the end of it, you get the item back. But of course, the total amount would include some interest, right? And then when you default, then the item is returned to the firm, not the person trying to get it. Yes. So how does your business run? What are the processes?
Okay, so if you want to buy an item on high purchase, two options. If you are the high-tech person that want to go on to do everything online, we'll send you the pictures and the forms. But basically, there's an agreement form you have to sign. When you complete the agreement form, because high purchase is a legal agreement, you must provide us with a guarantor. You must provide us with an emergency person. Now you have to pick your Google location. Then you must give us your picture and ID card. So once this gets to the office, we have to do our due diligence. Because we've come across people who will use their numbers, 2 different numbers, one pretend to be the guarantor, one pretend to be the customer. At the end of the day, the same person. So now we also, trying to be a little smart by making sure that when the form gets to us, we cross-check all the basic information. Once that is done, the next thing is that we deliver the item to you. Now, in high purchase, you want to the customer to look at the item first and be sure this is what exactly I want. Once the customer satisfies what I want, he has to make the initial deposit. So at that point, an agreement has been established between the two of us. So we deliver the item to you. So it is hire purchase. So you are hiring the item with the understanding that at the end of the contract period, the item is yours. So that is how simple it is. We try to make sure we deliver right to the doorstep of the customer. So basically, that is what we do. Okay,
so it means that, so what are some of the items that you can get on hire purchase from Ultimate Credit Solutions?
Okay, you can get the freezers, the gas cookers, the laptops. Almost all the home and electronic appliances. Even if an item is not in our regular price list and you approach us and we look at it as a viable business, we could always step in and do it for you. Great. Because basically we stand between the manufacturer and the final consumer who doesn't have the amount in bulk to purchase the item.
So, for instance, if you go to a bank and you want to take a loan, there are certain things you would have to check to see if you are even viable or you can actually pass for someone who can apply for the loan. So then, do you have certain things that you look at to see that somebody actually can have a hire purchase contract with you? So that in case somebody's watching and then they want to also come, they check themselves before they
Exactly.
come.
Now, the beauty of our company, Ultimate Credit, is that we try as much as possible to come down to the informal sector.
Okay.
If you approach the bank, you have to do a lot of documentation, ask a lot of questions. But we use our own, crude means to assess the credibility so that we can come down to the plumber, to the mason, to the petty trader. So by experience, there are certain things we will look out for. So we are more open and more accessible than the structured institutions. That is one of the things that has kept us over the years. So the plumber, who can never have gathered money to buy a television, because of the way we go about our system, we've come down to everybody's level. So it doesn't matter whether you have a bank statement, it doesn't matter whether you have a collateral. Once you come and fill the form, we will find out by talking to them, by visiting their workplace, we'll be able to tell whether they can pay or not.
Wow. Now, from the introductory video, you have about, what, 20 employees?
Yes.
Wow. Anyway, how do you manage all of the employees with all the challenges you've mentioned, the new systems? I mean, do you manage them alone, or you have some people in certain positions that help you manage them? And then also, how do you balance that with your personal life?
Okay, so I have my husband, who is the general manager.
Oh, great.
And I have an operations manager.
Okay.
Yes, we have a showroom executive. So the management team is there and the staff is there. So we work together as a team.
Okay, all right then. What would you qualify, what would make somebody qualify to be an employee in Ultimate Credit Solutions?
The interesting thing is that one of the reasons I started a business was because I realized that in Ghana, if you are not qualified in quote on paper, you don't get a job. When I was, in fact, I lost 3 jobs within a span of 6 months when I was coming up.
Wow.
So one of the reasons I started even a business was that I went to a bank one day to apply for a job. Had an intensive discussion with the HR manager. He said, "Oh, Dzifa, you speak so well, but you have not finished your first degree, so we can't take you." So I realized that there are quite a number of people who are so competent, but because you don't have the paper qualification, you don't get a job. So for me, when I'm looking for a staff to work for me, I am not even concerned about how many degrees you have. I'm concerned about integrity and competence and passion. Once I find these 3 in you, you are qualified to, because any other thing you can be taught. But you can never teach somebody to be honest.
Yes.
Very important. You can never teach a lazy person to be hardworking. So once you are hardworking, you are passionate about what you do, and you have integrity. Yes. You qualify by my standards.
Great. Now, looking at the fact that you mentioned your husband is the general manager, how is that going? Like, you know, because in the traditional African home, the man comes first before the woman. So if in the workplace, it looks like you're overseeing work and then your husband is an employee of the company you're overseeing, how do you balance that? What's the secret? What are some of the principles that keeps you in check and prevents any issues from coming up?
Okay, we've been married for the past 23 years. But we started working together actively for the past 7 years.
Oh, okay.
I must be very honest. Working with your spouse, it is not a bed of roses. There are ups and there are downs. Because most often, business interferes with our marriage because we always carry unfinished business to the house. As we said, in our case, most Ghanaian men, or in the Ghanaian culture, they don't understand how a man works under the wife. So for the fact that I'm the CEO alone, posed problem to some people.
Yes.
So what did we do? At the early stage of our marriage, we have decided that money should not be an issue. So there was so much financial transparency. For the past 23 years, we have a joint account either could sign. So that was the first problem we had to resolve. Then we came and said, okay, now we are together, we are working together. You have some strength, I also have some strength. I am a strong choleric. When I'm going, I don't look back. But my husband is a very patient man who will take his time to look behind and make sure everything is done. So we came together. Well, it doesn't mean it is easy, but then we have decided that, okay, as much as possible, we will not carry business home. But to be honest with you, we are still working in progress.
Definitely.
It's always that. So it's just deciding that this is what we found ourselves doing. We must make the best out of it. That is what we are doing over the years.
You should really have a session with maybe a newlyweds and teach them a thing or two, because it is even hard to be seeing couples as employees in a firm. Even when they are all maybe employees of that firm, a whole lot of issues come up. And even firms have policies where spouses cannot exist in the same branch of the company, or sometimes even the company as a whole. Okay. So to have you work with them and work well, even to this point, for 7 good years, That is admirable. And I'm hoping that anybody out there will be inspired as well, that they can always make a difference and do much more than the usual that people are doing.
Exactly.
Now, also, tell us a bit about your background and educational journey, because like you said, it's very, very difficult to build something of this sort, yet you've been able to do it for this long. What are some of the things that you picked up in the training and schooling you did that has helped you hold your fort as a businesswoman?
Okay, I started my primary education in Volta region, continued to Kwando Secondary School to get my O and A levels, went to the Polytechnic to do my national diploma. When I finished, I got married and came to Accra. I like how you put everything so short. When I came to Accra, there was no job. I was looking for a job everywhere. So I resorted to doing chair bags, table mats, sewing baby dresses, selling food, and anything I could lay my hands on, I was doing that.
Let's take a pause on that. Most of the time, people think that people who have businesses and are running successfully just started and they hit the mark.
No.
So I like the fact that you mentioned early on that you had some jobs that were not good. Some jobs too, you were not getting the position you wanted because of the paper issue. And the fact that you even tried other businesses. Can you talk to us about that?
Okay, so as I said, when I came to Accra, I was looking for a job, I didn't find one. So I couldn't sit in the house and put my hands between my thighs.
Not at all.
So I started sewing baby dresses, and I'll carry it to Sound Market and I'll go and sell. When I came back, I would do table mats. I had an HND all right. But if HND is not giving me job, it's not putting food on my table, why will I sit down? I went as far as selling fuel at the filling station.
Wow.
I was teaching. I was even editing books. And it was through the editing that I got my first formal job. And you know what happened? The day I got a job, I realized I was pregnant.
Oh.
But thank God for a good employer who never kicked me out. He took me on. And then, so from there, I mean, that is how it has been. I didn't just start like this. Even when we started Ultimate Credit, it was not easy. We started from the car boot. Wow. Oh, yes. The building you see so magnificent, we didn't just spring up. It took 15 years of hard labor. And we started by selling basic things like blenders.
Wow. So you had the blenders in the car boot, and then you'd open.
I'll go to Volta region where it's because it's a high purchase, it's a very known area. I started selling to my friends and family. That is how we grew from. We didn't just start. It was a process. Was a process. I can't sit down doing nothing. So you have to start from somewhere. So ultimately, it did not just spring. It took hard work. It took determination. I always believe that you don't start business and grow at once. Anybody who starts business and grow at once have a problem. There must always be a way to trace, to track how it all started.
Yes. Yes. And actually, when you're building and you're having the hurdles and overcoming, that's how you get stronger and know that at the end of the day, whatever is going to come out of it will stand on a solid foundation. Correct. And your story is so inspirational. What do you do to unwind? You mentioned that you schooled in the Volta region. I mean, your name tells us that you are an aware as well. So tell us some of the meals you love to eat. What do you do for fun? Because your work sounds so hectic. I
love eating kenke.
Ooh, kenke with what?
I've become a gang.
Oh, no.
I like rice a lot because I've become a Chinese.
Oh.
And I like banku and pepe.
Oh, okay then. Yes. So how do you unwind? What are some of the fun stuff that you do? In
the past, for many years, I thought unwinding was not necessary. But I realized that I've cheated myself so much. So you know what I do now? I love green environment. So I've made myself the chief gardener in my house. Oh, wow. I plant a lot. I'm always pruning something. And it's so relaxing. Yes. And for the past 1.5 years, we've been able to build a very big bird cage and have a collection of birds. So every day, I make between 30 minutes to 1 hour. I just sit by the cage and admire nature. The more I see the birds flapping, I forget about everything. By the time I'm getting up from the cage, I am so relaxed. Once in a while, when I get some friends, I love to sit by the poolside in hotels. So we get some friends, we hang out together, we laugh at ourselves. We discuss our mistakes and laugh about it.
It's amazing to know that someone as admirable as yourself, who has built such a nice empire, actually takes time to take care of themselves. People think it should be just work, before you can build something magnificent. But it's okay to take some time out and take care of yourself. Now, do you have something to tell us as viewers, some nuggets for us?
Okay, so first of all, my first motivation in life is lending a helping hand to people. Okay. So as much as you can, anytime you get an opportunity, help somebody. Yeah. Now, if you're going to build something that will transcend generation, you must have tenacity. The spirit of tenacity is very, very important. And then, depending on your religion, I am a Christian, so I will say, trust in the Lord with all your heart. And rely not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him. And I can promise you, He will direct your path.
And the Lord never fails.
Never.
So if you build on quicksand, you're going to lose your building. But if God is the rock, everything you build will stand. I mean, I'm not even surprised that you're talking about God, because your story is amazing. I am inspired. I'm sure that you are inspired. Now, I hope that you learn to think too, and you are motivated to do more.